A country experiencing high inflation observes the following changes over a period of 5 years. Now friends, as you can see, for the 5 years, we are given the consumer price index, wholesale price index, that is WPI, and GDP growth rate as well. Now, based on the data, which economic phenomena is most likely occurring and what policy response should the central bank prioritize to control the situation? And the options given to you are these. That is, first option is demand pull inflation, and the policy response is increase interest rates to curb excessive demand. Then second option is cost pull inflation and reduce taxes on essential commodities to ease supply side pressures. Then third option C is stagflation and focus on structural reforms to improve productivity while managing inflation. And last option D is hyperinflation. And the policy response is implement monetary tightening to reduce money supply rapidly. Now friends, this is a very good question. So before solving, let's first understand what all these three economic data measure means.
Now friends, if you are preparing for JAIIB, then your biggest hurdle is completing the massive syllabus.
Friends, do you know that JAIIB pass percentage has dropped to just 14.70% after the recent syllabus change? And this is not because bankers are not studying, but because first the exam expanded from 3 to 4 papers, making it far tougher. Then second and most important reason is the syllabus has become massive, bulky and intimidating. So most bankers lose their motivation the moment they open their textbook after a long working hours. Now I am introducing my JAIIB Masters Pack, which is designed exclusively for the new syllabus and updated exam pattern. Now first are these 4 summarized notebooks which provides you clear, engaging and in-depth learning, but they are never bulky. Then next are these 4 question banks which are filled with case studies, numericals and exam focused questions with detailed solutions. Now the format of books is motivation friendly, that is, these are easy to revise even after long working day without getting bored.
So order your JAIIB Masters Pack from the links given in description of this video and clear your examination in the very next attempt.
Now first is CPI, that is Consumer Price Index. Friends, this measures the change in price level of a basket of consumer goods and services. Now in our case study, CPI is steadily increasing each year, which indicates rising consumer prices and persistent inflation. The next is WPI, that is Wholesale Price Index. Friends, WPI tracks changes in price at wholesale level, that is prices before products reach consumers. Now, similar to CPI, WPI is also consistently rising in the given table, which indicates that inflationary pressures exist throughout the supply chain. And lastly, we have GDP growth rate. Now, this measures the economic growth of the country. Friends, please notice in the case given, the CPI and WPI are increasing, but the GDP is constantly declining each year. That is from 6.2% in year 1 to 3.8% in year 5. Now, this suggests a slowdown in economic activity. So friends, the scenario described in the table is the classic case of stagflation. Now, stagflation is a situation where the economy experiences stagnant growth, that is high inflation and often high unemployment simultaneously. The data clearly shows that while inflation, that is both CPI and WPI, is rising, the economic growth, that is GDP, is declining. Now the data clearly shows that while the inflation, that is both CPI and WPI, is rising, but the economic growth, that is GDP, is declining, which is a typical symptom of stagflation. So the correct option for the given question is option C. But friends, why the case is not demand pull inflation or cost pull inflation as given in options A and B? So please note, demand pull inflation occurs when aggregate demand exceeds aggregate supply and thus leading to price increases. However, in the given case, the economy is slowing down and demand is not growing robustly, which contradicts the idea of excessive demand driving inflation. The next, cost push inflation results from rising costs of production inputs, which are then passed on to the consumers. Now in our case, although the rising WPI in the table suggests some cost push elements, but the overall economic scenario points more towards stagnation rather than supply side issues. Lastly, why not hyperinflation as mentioned in option D? Now friends, hyperinflation refers to extremely high and accelerated inflation, which is often above 50% per month. Now please note the inflation rates given in the table are moderate and persistent, but not at the level of hyperinflation. So we got the correct answer as C here. But friends, this question also asks about policy response. Now friends, in stagflation, traditional monetary policy tools like raising or lowering interest rates are less effective because they either first address inflation but worsen economic stagnation, and second, they stimulate growth but increase inflation as well. So the correct approach involves focusing on structural reforms that can boost productivity, improve efficiency, and address supply-side constraints. This could include investing in infrastructure, reforming labor market, or enhancing business environments, while also managing inflation through selective measures like price control or targeted subsidies. So option C here is correct because it accurately captures the phenomena and suggests the most appropriate response to long-term economic stability.